It's October. Time to get dressed and scare people. It's already October, guys. What? I cannot believe. We are coming to the end of the year, which is my favorite time of the year. And that is because obviously all of the wonderful holidays that happen in October, November, and December. And I cannot wait because, as you know, presents, celebrating, drinking, those are just some of my favorite things, you know. So who doesn't like those things? Yeah. Anyways, I'm here to film my September wrap-up, which I thought wasn't a lot. I mean, not a lot of novels. I only read 3 novels. The rest of my books that I read were either graphic novels or manga. A lot of manga. And so let's just get straight into those. The first 2 books I read in September were Book 4 and Book 5 of Fullmetal Alchemist. These are bind-ups of 3 volumes. So Book 4 had volume 10 through 12, and Book 5 has volume 13 through 15 in it. Love this series. Love it. I cannot say that enough. I'm actually planning on filming my review for all of the books that I've read so far on this series today at some point. I am. Might not get it up today, but I will be filming it today, so look for that in the next few days, possibly over the weekend sometime. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Go read this series. I then read Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 2 in the Throne of Glass series. I believe so far I think there's supposed to be 6 books in this series. This sequel was amazing. I usually hesitate with sequels to books that I love, and I have to say that this book was way better than the first one. We get to see a lot more of Selena's badassness as an assassin. I think the one thing that was missing in book 1 was you didn't really get to see a whole lot of her action and why she's known as such a dangerous assassin, but you get to see that more in this book, and I cannot wait for book 3 because I think it's going to be even more action-packed than this one, and this one was really good. So gave this obviously 5 out of 5 stars. Love this book. I then borrowed a lot of manga from my library, but I had to return most of it already. So the first one that I read was Emma by Morikaru. I read all 10 volumes of this in one day. It was amazing. Like I said in my previous video that I've talked about this book series, it is set in Victorian age England. It kind of gave me a modern romance classic feel to it, if that makes any sense. Felt very Jane Austen-y in the way that the author stayed true to that time period and she didn't try to like cartoonize it. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it unless you read manga, a lot of manga. Like, it's a read for everybody, but it's definitely not like your typical shoujo. But it's definitely not your typical shoujo high school girl falls in love and she's shy and like the typical shoujo read. It's very different from it. So if you like classic romance reads, this is definitely a good one if you also are into manga. Just saying. Oh, and I gave that series 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. There were a few boring parts in the series, but overall it was a really good story and 4 out of 5 stars. I was kind of on a Morikaru kick, so I also read Volume 1 of her Bride's Story series. So far not as good as Emma, set in a different time period, in a different location. Not exactly sure what time period this is. It's kind of like about nomadic tribes. Really good so far, read the first volume. The reason I picked this up is because of her art is just beautiful. And this is a hard copy, which if you read manga, it's very rare to see anything in a hardcover. So, and it just is a beautiful wraparound. I believe I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. It was decent, like I said, just not as good as Emma. The next book I read was also from the library, and that is Shingeki no Kyojin, or Attack on Titan in English. I read the first volume from the library, but the library didn't have any more, so I ended up reading the rest online. Online, though, it doesn't go by volumes, it goes by chapters. I read all of the chapters that are out, which are 49 chapters, which I think in book volume form, that is the first 10 volumes of it. I believe I've stated how much I love this series so far, and of course I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This series is amazing, one of my favorite already, and I've already watched the entire first season. I cannot wait till more episodes come out, but I think they're going to wait a while because the anime is very, very close to where the manga is right now, so they're going to wait for the author to make more in the book before they can make more episodes, obviously. They don't know what he's going to do. But I'm so glad I can keep up with the manga online, and the storyline is getting cray right now. Seriously, amazing. Go check this out. I'm not going to explain what this is about. I think I've done it in several videos, so yeah, Shingeki no Kyojin, or Attack on Titan. And my friend, who is the only person that actually reads as much as I do, asked me to read a book along with her, and that book was Significance by Shelley Crane. I think I got this for free on my iPad like a few months ago, and when she came to me about reading it, I was like, oh, I already have this book. So we read it together, and she liked it a lot more than I did. I thought it was kind of cliche, a little bit boring. It was one of those books that I wanted to read because she wanted to read it, but I sped read through it because it was boring, and so I don't even really remember the storyline. I can't even remember at this point the main character's name, which is really bad for me. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but it's more like 1.5 stars. Probably will not be continuing this series. I didn't like it all that much. The next book I read was Hikaru no Go. I read volume 1 and already returned it to the library, so this is volume 2 that I'm holding up. So really, really enjoyed this. I'm telling you right now, I only read the first volume and I already want somebody to play Go with me. Seriously. And none of my friends even know what Go is, so it's kind of hard. So I've been playing a little bit on my phone with the computer, and yeah, so I know I'm going to get back into my addiction of this game. I have the physical board game, but nobody will play with me, and here's the thing, like, I have this obsession when I read this to play the physical board game because of the way that you're supposed to hold the pieces, like, between these 2 fingers, and I think it just feels really cool when you place it down. And in the anime, they really emphasize, like, them holding it like that and, like, putting it down. Like, you know how anime and manga is? They make the simplest things sound so amazingly cool. So, I don't know. I'm going to stop rambling now because half of you don't even know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Going to continue reading this in the month of October. Don't know how many volumes I'll get to, but yes, 5 out of 5. And then the last book that I completed in the month of September was The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. I kind of struggled through this book. I read it a lot slower than I wanted to read it. Because everyone on BookTube was talking about this book, I think I overhyped it for myself. It wasn't nearly as good to me as it was to everyone else. I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars because I really did enjoy the ending. Although I found the ending a little bit predictable. I really did. Still really good, and so I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I will pick up the sequel. Maybe not immediately, but I do want to know what happens next. I then have 2 books that I started in the month of September but never finished. And those books are The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. This was actually the first book that I started in September, and I got about 50 pages in and then stopped reading. I think I just wasn't in the right mindset for this. This is historical fiction, and like I said in my genres tag, it takes a special type of historical fiction to really get me into the mood for it, and this is really, really good, don't get me wrong. I'm very much enjoying what I've read so far. I like the narrative in this. The fact that it is told through the eyes of death is really, really cool, and I cannot wait to read the rest of this. I will try to read this in the month of October, but not making any promises because there's so many books that I want to read, and I keep making a TBR and not following it. So hopefully I'll get to this, but maybe not. And then the last book that I started in September was The Cuckoo's Calling by J.K. Rowling. I am on page 181. This is really good so far. Don't get me wrong, I didn't stop it because it was bad. I love J.K. Rowling's writing style. This story is something that I didn't think I'd like. I'm not really a big murder mystery reader, but I am really enjoying reading her writing again, and it's just a wonderfully written book, and I cannot wait to see what happens in this book. But it is a genre that I don't normally read, and so it is taking me a little bit slow. I am going to continue reading this into October, but I'm probably going to make it my read that I kind of take my time with and read in between other books. So those are all the books that I read in September. If you've read any of these books and like to leave any comments, please leave them down below. And I will see you guys in my next video, which is my October TBR. So look forward to that. Comment, like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!